Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far.
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head.
Hello everyone, my name is Josh, aka the Biscuit Eater, and I want to welcome you all to the 5th episode of my short-run Let's Play of the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe 2 sequel, whatever. If this is your first time with the series, you know you can find a link to the playlist in the description down below if you're watching on YouTube. Of course, if you are watching live on stream, know that I appreciate having you here. It's always fun to have folks to interact with and talk to while I play the game, as well as just to know people are watching and being entertained by all the various stupid things I'm doing here. But of course, if you would rather just sit back and watch and listen to me talk, that's perfectly welcome as well. You are still welcome here and appreciated as a lurker because you're still getting eyes on the stream, which is important too. But with that all said, if you would like to join us live, you can do so every Monday and Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. until 10 p.m. Pacific time over at twitch.tv/The Biscuit Eater. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the game proper. Now, I know I promised that we were going to go ahead and do...
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something?
Oh.
He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Okay, that's new. Okay. But anyways, yeah, I know I said that was the last of our right hand. We're going to start doing... Our left hand, we're going to start doing right hand. But, oh. That's not available anymore. Interesting. Brightly lit. What has changed? But anyways, now what I wanted to do... Oh, wait. Where's my bucket? Is the bucket gone forever, Cap? Well, if I have no bucket, we're gonna go to the right.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, actually, should we go to the left and then escape, or should we start with the right? I want to escape first. No, there's so much more fun. Okay, no, we're going to the right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion. It will cause death. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, 1,000. Penalty for jumping off cargo lift, 5,000.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be
it's right there.
but the fact is
How do I
that
get
the
there?
story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Can I get there?
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
No.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Replacement bucket. Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, there's one by the elevator. The hidden elevator. I'm not sure which fireplace he means. Stairs.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay, be a little more specific with me, Cap. Hidden elevator by the boss's office.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Okay, we won't go in there just yet. So you don't mean this elevator?
Here's the door. Just go.
Oh, jeez! Oh.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Okay, we're gonna escape. Since I don't have the bucket with me, I can't jump off to the bottom of the mind control room without without the bucket, so... So the red and blue room, and then one in the room with the boxes. So we've
Stanley
seen.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Whee!
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture.
He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the two doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development, though the core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. The pacing of this opening section was important to get right. This corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in a good time. The two doors. The set of the two open doors was the very first concrete piece of the Stanley Parable's design. Once the room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction the room posed. The fact that there was choice but no choice. Filing cabinets. Office computers. Credits. Okay. Interesting. Okay, over here. Nature paintings. Yeah, this game, Mima, when this is what we're talking about, the game being incredibly meta. It's just button sounds. The kind of sounds used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. Okay, I'll go through this door. The office. Maintenance room. Random copier. I don't remember money flying everywhere. Early development would design an ending where Stanley would end up in a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. Yeah, I don't recall there being a money ending either. Or a Tron ending. Alien base. Okay, so, yeah. The ending that never was. Ultra Deluxe announcements. In December 2018, we announced the Ultra Deluxe version of the Stanley Parable at the Game Awards. These are the screenshots of the videos we made for the announcement of the game's delay. So they were mocking the delay. Got it. Okay. Narrator emails. After the second trailer we sent out, we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are a selection of those emails. Greetings, omnipotent voice. Oh, please, I'd like you to keep this proposal as a top secret and delete it if you are not interested and get back to me. When initially belongs to Libyan client who dead strong bad. Oh dear. That's a callback. The lounge, an early version of the lounge. The apartment timer. The previous version of the choice leading to the apartment ending, a timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. Interesting. Okay, we haven't been to the apartment. Haven't found the apartment ending. The second version is functionally the same as what's in the final game, but we wanted to look like a place where cargo was actually stored. Cargo lift. The cargo lift was always intended to offer the choice of staying on or jumping a different path. However, after this early version, we decided we also wanted the option of player falling to their death. Got it. Okay. Maintenance layout. The flow of hallways following the first two doors was important to get right since players will replay them so many times. We discussed a number of designs, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won out. Obey, disobey, staircase, maintenance, confusion, ending, vent, lounge. Zending model. The Zending went through many iterations. This room represents the fourth version of the ending, and we thought it was complete, but decided to abandon and change it shortly before launch. It's now paused, yeah. Escape menu. For a long time, we had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this is what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. Fix the early version of the ending known as the Zending, which was eventually cut and merged from another part of the game. Freedom ending. Seeing some development of the boss's office. Okay.
Then he pushed the number 8.
Kevin Brady, the voice.
Over the bridge.
This narrator recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the 2 years of development. These are clips from the early takes that were not used in the final game.
Number 6. Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room. Perfect example of poor level design. Where were all of his co-workers? It's the kind of thing you pick up on intuitively if you have even the throwing a surprise party for him for all his button pushing. Does that sound plausible? But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here, I'm just going to make this easy. Then he pushed the number 4. And finally, he pushed the number 9. Stanley stood on the snow. Still nothing.
Oh, we're back here. Okay, we'll go back up the stairs then. This is interesting. I mean, I've seen a lot of this before, but some of it's a little bit new. Monitor room elevator. For a time, the elevator in the monitor room could go up or down with freedom above and countdown below. We abandoned this when players found it too difficult to remember what was up and what was down and placed the two endings together instead. Countdown desks. Oh, did I miss? Game design mock-up. This is a level that William, the level designer, sent Davey, the writer, as kind of audition piece. The strength of this level got William higher than design the full game, though much of the environment has changed. The basic layout from the mock-up is still in-game. Stanley's office. From left to right, The evolution of Stanley's office over time. The first was created in November 2011, second March 2012, third in February 2013. Okay, I think I'm ready to take the exit.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else.
Okay, let's do it. See if there's any difference.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, let's see if we can figure out how to get the bauble in
Stanley came
the
to a
cargo
set of
area.
2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Hey, look at that. I figured it out.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Oh.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far.
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's not one I ever came across before. Okay.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Here we got one more figurine, which is in a red and blue room.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
How am I mean?
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Okay, so we've got all the figurines now. I'm gonna... Oh, do I... Yeah, no.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I'd
This is one of my favorite endings.
For you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version.
Now I'm going to be mean.
Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
The Stanley Parable Worldwide Leaderboard. In total. Wow. Jeez. Well, clearly, Yeah, clearly I am. Oh, rude. Rude. Friends list empty. 98.9% of players were a dead rat is objectively ranked.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give
Yeah,
it some playtesting.
I'm being mean on
You wouldn't mind
purpose.
taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it
And
4
there is a
hours of
legitimate
play to
4
make sure
hour
it's effective. Be
ending.
sure to keep notes on your experience.
I'm not gonna play it for 4 hours, so bye-bye, baby.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over.
2 hours in, a puppy
Thank
will be
you
in
for
danger
playing.
next, and you have to jump
Your
between
input was
buttons.
extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see.
In the original version of the game, this would go to Minecraft. I wonder if it's going to do that.
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
So I'm presuming Minecraft, or maybe they updated. It has been 9 years.
Aha! Fascinating. What do you
Isn't
think
this like
game is about,
Firewatch?
Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
I've not played it, but
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you.
who
and
fire
occupying
watches
your
the fire watch?
Perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game,
Look
Stanley.
out, cookbook.
And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see
That is
what
a game
else is out
I've been
there.
considering playing. I just haven't gotten around to it. But that's funny. Maybe actually a fun game for playing on. Yeah, I've. It's been one that's kind of been on my list.
Oh no. No, it can't be. It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You really wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
What is he going to throw us into next?
Hey, I think this will be just the thing.
What is it going to be? You've got to be kidding me. Rocket League?
See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice
Rocket
big
League?
box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed. Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Well, despite it being huge, I can kick it.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked
I'm
so
going
hard
faster.
on? Stanley, I have a thought, and I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball. Yes! Oh goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls! Are you enjoying this, Stanley? Are you having fun? Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over. That's right. Your little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or
Yeah, it could be run
boundaries,
over,
video
yeah.
games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I'm structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't... Hold on. What are you doing? Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back. We still have so much.
Oh. Almost expect like horror vibe stuff to come popping out in this ending. Oh, original Gary's mod. Gotcha. Okay, that was a dead end. Oh.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait. Stanley, I'm sorry. but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life?
No,
Didn't
not
it
really.
fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Memory Zone didn't go well for us last time. Now remembering when Stanley found the collectibles. Okay. Got some new content is down here.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6.
Oh my
right
gosh,
there
is
on
it
the
really gonna
screen,
do
but
this?
how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley. And here was the second Stanley. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the boss's bathroom. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember? Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, under the stairs. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything. Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well,
No.
I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
Sure.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
I hope this isn't copyrighted. Oh gosh, Windows Movie Maker! It's Windows Movie Maker! My original YouTube channel way back in the day, that's how I made most of my blog videos, was on Windows Movie Maker. So yeah, this brings back way too many horrible memories.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else. And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other, except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
You're in the present.
And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
So dumb.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels. Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
Wait, angle myself so I can see the sign on the TV. If it lets me, I don't think I can anymore. Yeah, door closed. Oh well. Can't be faster than that, Cap. Gotta warn me beforehand. What would have happened?
And
Gotcha.
here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I love that video.
Kind of want to jump off. I really kind of want to jump off.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
Where did we find this one? Now I kind of forget, too. That's right. It was in the elevator room.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Oh.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figlarines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this? Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
Oh, dear.
Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes. I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different.
I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then, somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions, he would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And
Merry
Stanley
Christmas.
really did make
This is
for a
getting
wonderful
dark.
companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and end out the YouTube recording here because we're past 9:10. So let's go ahead and swap things over. And thank you all for joining you as we end out this YouTube recording. Thank you very much for being here. I hope that you enjoyed if you're watching on the YouTube side. Please make sure that you help me out by clicking the... I guess it just popped up again, but let's try to get that to come back. Come on. I believe in you. Why are you not responding? There we go. So, please make sure you click the like button and comment on the video, and click the subscription button if you haven't already. Also, make sure you click that notification bell. That way you'll know when new videos come up on the channel. I do post new videos to the channel every Monday through Friday, so it's a great way to basically just keep track of what's going on here, watch some highlights from some of the streams, as well as just keep track of all the various series that we do on the channel. So, thank you very much for doing that. Also, make sure you check out my social media channels down in the doobly-doo. Just a great way to continue the conversation once we're done here. But with that all said, thank you very much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this particular episode. And until I see you next time, game on, lovelies.